In today's card tutorial, I'm going to show you how I use a stencil to mask off an area and add a stencil design over the top. Hi everyone, I'm Mindy Eggen and welcome to my channel. I would love it if you subscribed, liked this video, and shared it with your friends. Now, one of the stencils that I'm going to be using today is the Layered Sunflowers stencil from Simon Says Stamp. It has a design on the back, so it shows you how it would layer up and gives you an idea of the colors you could use. I am going to be making them sunflowers because it's one of my favorite fall flowers. So to do my stenciling, I am using this grid mat out of the Altenew Stampwheel. It is a sticky surface, and this is going to help my stencils stick over the area. So I started with the domed arches. This is one of the larger sizes, and I placed that over some Hammermill cardstock that is stuck down to that sticky mat. And the sticky mat is holding that arches stencil in place. So it's going to mask off the area on my cardstock. Now I'm taking the first layer of the sunflower stencil and I placed it over the top. So now the sunflowers layer is stuck to the top and the bottom of this Altenew sticky mat. I had gone through and picked out some fall colors out of the Concord and 9th ink line, starting with Buttercup. So this is a lighter yellow, and these petals had looked to me on the graphic on the back of the packaging like they would be in the front. So I'm making them the lightest and brightest color. I'm just going to apply that ink using my blending brush. Now I'm peeling this up, and my stenciled area is only going to be in that open area of the domed arch. I brought in the second layer of the stencil, lined that up with my already stenciled petals. Now these are going to create kind of some darker petals, like they'd be behind the ones I had already done. So once again, my stencil is sticking on the mat at the top and the bottom and a little bit on the side. And I'm going to come in with Stardust ink. So this is a nice darker yellow. I really loved this color combination for my sunflower. I'm going to blend that over the open areas of the stencil. Then I can peel this up. Now the sticky mat does come up from my work surface a little bit, but the domed arches stencil is totally staying in place. So this is coming in super handy for me. Now the next layer is going to be the leaves and the centers of the flowers. Now this one was a little bit tricky for me. I'm holding that down once again on that sticky mat at the top and the bottom of the stencil. For the leaves, I'm choosing a smaller blending brush to help control my color a little bit. And for this, I'm using Parsley once again from the Concord and 9th ink line. So I went through and covered in all of the stems and leaves. I wasn't being super careful about the centers of the flowers because I wasn't really worried. One of the main reasons is I knew it was going to be a brown ink for the center of my flowers. And then once I had all that green in, I wiped off any excess green with a towel. Now, I originally had chosen wheat for my brown color, but decided since I was a little careless with my green, I needed to step that up a little bit. So I brought in nutmeg. I started using one of these mini blending brushes again, and as I got to the first center of the flower, I realized this was going to be too big of a blending brush. So I went digging through my stash, and I have these really itty bitty tiny blending brushes. I honestly rarely use them for anything, but I do have them, and I'm thankful I do because they worked really well in getting in between those fine areas. I really did not want to get brown on my leaves. I wanted to keep that focused into the center of the flower. So just very carefully picking up that nutmeg ink and blending in those centers. Now I can remove that last layer of the layered sunflower stencil, so it's going to reveal our beautiful sunflowers, and then I can peel off my mask. So the masks, you can do any shape. There's hearts, rectangles, circles. I really like this domed shape or this domed arch, and I originally was thinking this would be a one-layer card. I had a sentiment picked out, but after I added, honestly, it was the nutmeg that kind of did me in. The nutmeg was really dark, so I had to change up my thought process a little bit and decided to use this Teacher die cut word. So it's got the die cut for the word, and then it also has a shadow layer. So I trimmed down some thin strips of white cardstock. This is also Hammermill, so the whites are going to match. And I'm using my Hero Arts compact cutter to just trim out 3 of them. I'm going to end up layering them together to create dimension on the front of the card. Most times I can just kind of pick that word out of the die, but sometimes I'll need to bring in my craft pick and just poke those out. Now for the shadow layer, I decided to go with the Concord 9th Stardust ink to help pull in that darker color from the sunflower. And then once I have everything done and die cut, I can start layering these together. So I am just going to use a fine tip bottle of glue, liquid glue, to help layer the word teacher together. There's going to be 3 of them to layer up for dimension. And I'm working on a media grip surface. It's a nice slick surface that I like working on when it comes to adhering die cut words like this, because then I don't have to worry about cleaning up glue off of my glass mat. And also it is really quick and easy to clean up just with a couple sprays of rubbing alcohol. Then I went ahead and added that to that shadow layer that I die cut out of Stardust cardstock. Now for a sub-sentiment, I'm pulling out these reverse sentiments in a teacher. There's a bunch of different teacher ones on here, and we have school starting up really, really quick. We still haven't started yet. It starts after Labor Day, and this is going to be the perfect card to give to our brand new teacher. I was very sad to hear that our teacher for special ed had left to a new school. Best wishes to her, but we do have a new teacher this year that we are meeting this week. So I really wanted to get this card done for her. Now, I had trimmed that sentiment down into a thin strip, and I also went ahead and trimmed my panel down. So this is going to be about 3 3/4 by 5 inches, and I'm adding it to another piece of cardstock that's cut to about the same size. That's just going to add stability since my Hammermill cardstock is not super sturdy. Then I'm adding some thin foam tape behind that panel just to give it a little bit of a lift. I could have added a couple more pieces of cardstock, but honestly, I have so much foam tape. So I wanted to start kind of putting that into some use, especially with a card that I'm just going to be handing to somebody, and I don't have to worry about how much dimension I have on the front of the card. So I added that to my card front, which I also created with the Stardust cardstock. I added that thin foam tape behind my word teacher, and then using my mini T-square ruler, I can add that to the front of the card. I'm also going to layer up some black cardstock behind my sentiment strip. Once again, bring in that T-square ruler to help me line that up straight on the front of the card. And then I'm going to finish this off with some embellishments. When I had done my ink blending, I had gone a little too heavy-handed, and on one of the leaves, I could see where ink had pooled up. So I'm actually hiding those little speckles with my embellishments, and these are some champagne glitter drops. Now, if it seems like I make a lot of teacher cards, it's because I have a lot of teachers in my son's life. They may not all be technically teachers, but they're totally getting a teacher card because they deserve it. Now, I finished off my sunflowers with a couple white gel dots in the centers. I hope you enjoyed today's card project and using your stencils to mask off an area and stencil another design. So kind of double stenciling. Thank you so much for joining me today. I will have all of my supplies listed down below in the video description and over on my blog. Thanks again. See you again real soon.